we joke around. We call it the Ja Reminder Tour because you finally hopefully get a healthy Ja, no distractions off court. What are you expecting from him this upcoming season on court?
Um, I mean, I expect the same Ja Morant I've seen the last like 2 or 3 years. Like we're talking about a guy. If I had the stats up right correctly, he's basically been a walking like the last 3 years, a walking 26 points, like 5 rebounds and like 8 assists, and that's like without a jump shot that's consistent, or
Right.
him hitting free throws consistently. Because I'm big on the free throws than I am the jump shot. Like I'd be like, bro, reason as a point guard you should be like no lower than like 80% from the free throw line. So yeah, so like for me, it's like he's gonna do that same thing, and then on top of that, I think he's adding more to his game. I think we saw it in glimpses last year. I think he's adding more to his jump shot game, the mid range game at least. I thought he was really starting to take that, be more willing to take that more, and he wasn't going for much of the highlight plays. Like he obviously he was still being aggressive to the rim, but like people don't realize like he was being smarter about his attempts at the rim, which I think he's always done that, but it's just been more about being consistent. Last year, he's very consistent. I can only think of like 3 times where he tried to like really dunk on somebody, or like 3 really big dunks, like one against Atlanta off a lob, dunked on Wemby, and then I think he tried to dunk on somebody in Sacramento. Like that was it. Everything else was like floaters.
You played like 9 games, bro.
Yeah,
That's casually, okay, and then that's what I was casually. You just said, yeah, dunked on Wemby, like it was like,
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
Dunking on one field.
yeah,
like that man
Yeah.
is like
He's crazy, bro. I love it.
bro.
I love it.
It's
I love it.
crazy.
I
It's
love it.
crazy,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to come off like I didn't like care, but like I've watched I've been a Grizzly fan for just background. I've been a Grizzly fan since like 2009, 10, and then I've been so obviously like I've seen a bunch of eras of Grizzly basketball, and obviously with Ja Morant been here for like 5 years, like I'm used to it at this point. Like I remember like when he dunked on like I want to say like Aaron Baines like his rookie year, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like no, there's certain stuff that I'll still be like, man, that's tough, but like for the most part, like I seen everything basically. So like I say it casually because like that's
you're spoiled. You're spoiled. That's
Even
the
yeah,
problem.
even his misses are like insane.
yeah.
Like just
Yeah, like the one with Kevin Love, like his rookie year, that was funny.
Yeah.
That's a funny miss. Like he has funny misses, but yeah, like I'm used to Ja being this good of a player. Like my expectations for him are high because I think while I'm big on not using the word superstar a lot because I think there's not too many of them, but I do think you got guys that are on the cusp of it, and I think he's one of those guys. I think if he improves his defense and obviously his jump shooting, I think those two things really take him into that next level where you can consider him like, because I got him as a top 15, 20 player. Like, honestly, I think he's closer to like a lot of players that they talked about him being better than, or players that are better than him. I think he's in the same tier. Like, I know this is going to be probably a hot take, but like and like SGA, like only 2 players I give like that I know for sure confidently ahead of him for me, in my opinion, are like a Luka and a Tatum because they've done it longer. But like outside of that, I think he's all on the same tier as those other guys based on the track record, especially because he's a guy that not only performs in the regular season, but in the playoffs, right? Like people don't understand he's had a 40 ball every playoff. Like, and then on top of that, like he was like doing all this, like he has records with like Kobe and LeBron, like,
yeah.
And that was like age like 22. Like, so like people got to realize like like that's not easy. And then on top of that, I think you're talking about a guy who he's a superior athlete, like we just talked about, but people don't give him enough credit for like how smart he is. Like Draymond said, he's one of the smartest players he's ever played against. And
Fantastic
Draymond
court vision, like
yes,
unbelievable court vision.
Yes, great playmaker. And I think we don't see a lot of guys that athletic and that high of IQ as a playmaker. And then so you're saying like if the guy gets a jump shot now, you basically got to pick your poison. That's going to be very tough. And so, and I think that's the difference because, people say with smaller guards, it's hard to build around them, right? Because, and you got to basically build around them perfectly, in which I do agree. And I think even then, I think they have all the contenders. Like I'm big on history. So like they got an all-NBA defender. They got they got a top 10 offense defense. Like they have the right pieces. It's just about for him, Ja Morant really just staying healthy. I think health, at least in the playoffs, right? Health in the playoffs is really the biggest thing because he's always been hurt every time we get to the playoffs. Like it's been a hand injury here, knee injury here. Like basically like how Embiid and basically like what the Clippers are going through, basically like their best players. Like they get to the playoffs and then they just get hurt. Like that just happens. You know what I mean? So hopefully he can stay healthy. But yeah, I think Ja could be in MVP talks this year. I know that's probably a big, because people forget like the year we won 56 games, I think he finished like 7th in MVP voting. And then I think the year after that, even with the off court stuff, I think he finished like 9th or 10th. So like, and again, this is like I just said, like without the free throws shooting and the jumper being improved. So if he improves those things, he might be at like 30 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, and you're a top 3 seed in the West. I mean, that's pretty tough. You know what I mean? So my expectations for Ja are high. Like I think he's gonna be an All-NBA player again. So like, like that's my expectation. When you're the best player, I'm just like, I'm like, I expect him to just do these things at this point because we're in year 5.
He's one of my favorite players in the league. I love Ja's game.
Oh yeah.
Ja Morant to me is everything that Russell Westbrook fans think Russell Westbrook is. If I'm being honest with you, I had to bring Russ into it because Russ is like this explosive. He goes 100 miles per hour, but Ja is smarter than Russ. Ja has better court vision than Russ. I'm sorry. To me, I know Russ has won an MVP. Ja Morant is still young. He still has to write his book out, and he hasn't accomplished some things that Russell Westbrook accomplished. Like I always say, watching Russell Westbrook play is like watching a bird fly into a window. Ja Morant at least has a plan of action every time he touches the ball, and he knows what he's doing. He has high IQ. I'm sorry. Everything that you talk, everything that Russell Westbrook fans say about about Russell Westbrook.
One of my first messages I got today. One of the first messages I got today was from Zach because he listened to the reaction podcast from yesterday, and he was like, "A great way to bait Josh about Russell Westbrook."
I didn't take it. I didn't take it.
Run it up because we all know when Russ is mentioned, it's going.
I go crazy. I don't know what it is, but because he was talking about Ja Morant and his court vision and his IQ, and I'm like, yep. And then I'm thinking about Josh going to the hoop and trying to bang on everybody. He goes 100 miles per hour. And I'm just kind of reminds me of Russ. And then that's
talking about Ja. You're like, what about Russ?
I know. I got a problem.
This is why he's not Russ.
Sorry, Alex.
Well, no, you're good.
About the Grizzlies. We're here to talk about the Grizzlies.
Last day. To be fair, Ja did say Russ is one of his favorite players, and I will say, while Ja has smart moments, Ja has very moments of like, what are you doing in the sense of not like turning the ball over, but more so like, why did you try that dunk? Like people forget, like when he got hurt in the playoffs against AD, he tried to dunk on him when he could have just shot the floater, like little stuff like that. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But outside of that, but
I'm sorry.
the Russ,
I'm trying.
No, it's okay.
Anyway, Jaren Jackson Jr.